Stranger Things. That's our theme for the fall. Definitely our theme for the fall. I'm catching my breath from worship right now. Y'all made me scream on that last song. So thanks music team for that. We'll be working through that for the rest of the night. But yes, Stranger Things. That's our theme. We are looking at some of the weirder, crazier, stranger things we find in the Bible. And tonight I get to talk about one of my favorite topics. Miracles. Miracles. Why is this a stranger thing? Well, first of all, let's do this. What a week to be talking about miracles. 15-year anniversary, Katrina. Not one, but two hurricanes in the Gulf. COVID, craziness, what have you. But we're talking about miracles anyway tonight. So, why are miracles a stranger thing? Well, because they don't happen anymore. I just really want to see the look on Russell's face when I said that. Really? I don't actually believe that. I just want to see if Russell would actually come up here and fight me after I said that. Something like that. So I don't personally believe that, but I do know people that do. And that's okay. That's okay. I actually get to go into the high schools a good bit. We'd have lunch clubs with them, feed them pizza, talk Jesus. And one of the lunch clubs this past February, at the end of my message, at the end of the talk, the student president of the club raised her hands and she asked me, why don't miracles happen anymore today? Why don't miracles happen today? And it was the first time I heard that question, so I'm not going to quote her. I've asked that question before. And it seems to be a fairly common sentiment. And I get it, right?
Do you think that the question might be more of, why isn't a miracle happening for me? According to Chris, now.
Let's get that. Give me a chance to get that. Set the stage. I know I ticked you off with the statement earlier. Just give me a chance. Rhetorical. Right? So she asked the question. I didn't answer. She asked the question.
I was making a lot of friends.
So, in a lot of ways, I get the question. But, how about Sheriff? Back in college, my friend John was asked to go to a math and science fair for middle schoolers. He's a good friend of mine, and he had to get talked into it by his professor. But we were both engineering students at Clemson, of course, in case you know. Went to Clemson. Really? God bless you. Yeah, right? God bless you. God, yes, this is more better. This is Tiger on crack. That's exactly right. So, we were at Clemson together. We were studying the engineering students. Anybody else a fellow nerd, like math, science? We like that. Bobby, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Own it.
Yeah.
But John gets talked to this by one of our professors, and so he goes, and it's all geared towards getting middle school students excited about STEM, science, technology, engineering, math. And so he goes, and he's got his booth, he's got his section, and the entire time he's there, he's in prayer. And he's saying, God, who should I talk to? Who should I pray for? What do you want me to do today? And towards the end of the day, kid comes up with his arm in a sling, and they talk engineering things, they talk math things, but this is apparently the guy, right? That's what John feels God is telling him, and so at the end of the day, John gets a break, and he leaves his post, and he goes and finds this kid in a sling, and it turns out the kid's name is Taylor, and one of his classmates has tackled Taylor last week and broken his collarbone. Anybody ever broken the collarbone before? I got one raised hand. I've never done it before. I hear it's painful. I hear it sucks.
It's painful.
But yeah, John just asked him, hey, can I pray for you? And Taylor says, sure, go ahead. Prays for him, not real long. God, heal this man, show him your love, whatever he said. And that was it. And he steps back and says, Taylor, how do you feel? Taylor says, well, it's pretty much the same, but I won't really hurt anything unless I'm raising my arm, because, I can't raise my arm above my shoulder. And so John says, well, I want to be careful about this, but let's test it out. If you feel any pain, stop, but raise your arm a little bit. So Taylor raises his arm, no pain, no pain, no pain, and shortly thereafter, Taylor is swinging his arm around going, there's no pain, making a scene in this STEM day. And that's the response, yes. What do you do with something like that? I'm okay if you take it with a grain of salt. 10 years ago, you're hearing it third hand, but I gotta tell you, it's an otherworldly experience when you're sitting next to the guy making hundreds on calculus exams, and he tells you this story about asking God for the impossible, and God giving it to him. So, why don't miracles happen today?
Lack of faith.
That's a different kind of faith than I was used to. The kind of people that walk up to strangers and ask, can I pray for you? Those are some weird people. Some weird people. Maybe in the best kind of way, but it's weird. Kind of people who ask you to take off your sling and move around your broken bones. They're not doctors, right? That could have gone another way. John was careful, but he wasn't cautious. But now Taylor has this experience that's going to stick with him the rest of his life. So why do miracles happen? Sometimes miracles don't happen because we don't ask for them. Too afraid, too busy, too distracted, or maybe we just don't believe that our words, our actions are actually going to do anything at all. Right? How many of us would stand up like Elijah, like asking for fire down from heaven, in front of what I think was 400 prophets of the state-sponsored religion, knowing that if God doesn't show up, you're going to be dead by sundown? How many of us would do that? How many of us would stand in front of one close friend with a cast on her leg and ask God for the impossible? Sometimes miracles don't happen because we don't ask for them. So the story with John messed me up in some of the best kinds of ways. I've got another one. Y'all ready for it? Mm-hmm. All right. Another one of my friends is still back in college. Her mom had already beaten cancer one time, but it came back. And so John and I and a couple of our friends, we got together one night and we prayed for healing. Somebody brought an acoustic guitar, so we sounded like extra spiritual with the music behind us, right? Picking and strumming. And we praying loud, praying proud, praying for the impossible, and just feeling in our bones how powerful God is. It's crazy. And we didn't do it just one night. We kept it going. We kept it going. We kept it going until finally that day came when we got the phone call. Hey, Chris, I want to let you know her mom passed away. Funeral was this weekend in Washington, D.C. Sorry to hear that. Tell her I'll be there. You ever been there? Ever had a prayer go unanswered? Maybe we can share some stories later. I've got some stories like that. Tragedies. Most of them have a silver lining, or two or three. Not this one. This one just sucks. That event shook that family, broke that family in ways that can't be repaired. And the stuff that can be healed is taking a sweet time. This is the kind of story that makes me almost wish that there weren't any miracles today. Like, it would be easier if there weren't. Because, yeah, you got your arm healed. Great, Terry, you can play baseball again. This wife, mother of 2, it's gone. Sometimes you just have to sit with it. Sometimes you just have to sit with them. Because sometimes the miracle just doesn't come. I'm an engineer. I'm a nerd. I want things to make sense. I want there to be a formula. I wish there was an equation, right? Or if I just got the variables right. Right? If 2 of us, if me and you or more, if 2 or more of us could gather together and we could agree, this is what we're going to ask God for. And in the name of Jesus, eradicate COVID, and God gives us what we want on the spot. We hit all of those. This plus this plus this equals a miracle. I want that bad. That's just not how it works. I know I'm not alone in this. I won't make you raise your hands because I've got archaeology on my side. So, they've actually found an ancient spell book. It is filled with every god you can think of. Nefertiti, in the name of Nefertiti, make this person fall in love with me. In the name of Jupiter, give me good luck. It's got incantations, it's got potions, it's got anything and everything. And it even has Jesus' name in it. They call him out as the God of the Hebrews, which I think is kind of funny. Well, this is the spell. It goes on for pages. I picked out a few quotes. You can read it, but it lists Acts from Genesis, Acts from Exodus, Kings, on and on and on, what the God of the Hebrews has done throughout history. And it lists them and names them. And by his name and by his power, give him a miracle. It even says you're not allowed to eat pork while you're doing this incantation, otherwise the incantation won't work. It is a Hebrew spell, after all. So, it's just not how it works, though, right? We can't wave a magic wand and get what we want. This is how it worked for Jesus, too. Matthew chapter 13, Mark chapter 6 tells us that Jesus didn't get every miracle he ever asked for. So where does that leave us? Right? If we cut through the awkwardness, if we allow ourselves to be weird, pray over people, maybe even people we don't know, put our ego on the line and actually ask for the impossible, we might see God move in some powerful ways. But we might not. No magic spell. No formula, no equation. I think Jesus goes out of his way to show us this. This is just a sample of some of the miracles of Jesus. But throughout the Gospels, he's performing miracles, but he rarely does them in the same way twice. Sometimes it's one-on-one, sometimes it's 1 on 5,000. Sometimes it's Jews, sometimes it's Gentiles. Sometimes you need prayer, sometimes you need to rub some spit in somebody's eyes. Sometimes you even have to pray again because it didn't happen the first time. Sometimes he does it by accident, right? Just one just reaches out and touches it. Oh, got me a miracle. Sometimes it's about my faith. Sometimes it's about your faith. Sometimes it's about your friend's faith. Sometimes maybe it's even just to spite the Pharisees.
Yes.
But the idea that God is Santa Claus, and if we just write him a letter, send it to the North Pole, we get what we want, absolutely ludicrous. But miracles are obviously a thing. They're scattered throughout the Bible, and they're scattered throughout history. I can look around this room. I've heard some of your stories. What you've seen, what you've done, what you've experienced. Some of you have heard God. Some of you have seen people healed. Some of you have seen lives transformed in front of your eyes. Miracles. At the same time, I know you've experienced pain. 15 years ago, right? Still feeling the effects today. And everything in between. Sometimes miracles don't happen because we don't ask for them. Sometimes miracles don't happen because I don't know. I don't know. No idea. Some people will say God's reasons are higher than ours. His ways are higher than ours. Some people will say God has a plan. Maybe the reality is that God is on the throne and the king does what he wants. He might be a good and gracious king, but he's not a president. We can beg, we can plead, we can work really hard, but we don't get a vote. Or do we? My mom was driving down to New Orleans years ago. Years ago. About halfway through, she hits Alabama. Nobody likes to drive through Alabama. Sorry, Alabama people. But her heart starts racing, pumping, beating out of her chest. And she's an athlete, played college ball, and so she's got all the tricks to, calm her nerves, de-stress the situation, slow everything down. None of it's working. Make it down to Chalmette. We go on a walk just to see if maybe some physical activity will help her out, but it becomes very clear she needs to go to the hospital. And so we take her. In my head, I might be misremembering, but I think Katie was actually at a girls' small group in Abby's house. I was hoping Abby would be in here. I don't know if she remembers that or not. But that's what I remember. But whatever it was, we put the word out to family, friends, everybody in town. Hey, pray for my mom. Something's going wrong with her heart. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. Everybody's praying. We get to the hospital. My Aunt Robin calls and puts all of our thoughts into one succinct question. He says, "What in the world is the healthiest person in our family doing in the hospital?" And as the tests come back, nothing. Free, clear, bill of health. Walks out on our own power. See you, have a nice day. We got the miracle. And my first thought is, what am I supposed to do with this? I would almost rather it be something small. Like just take a pill. Or like a small surgery. Maybe like nothing risky, nothing like that, I don't want anything dangerous, but man, I want an answer. So my dad drives down, picks up my mom, takes her back to South Carolina. They go see a cardiologist. Cardiologist walks in, he's a friend, he says, "Good news. You're going to be okay. We are going to schedule a surgery. It's not risky, it's nothing big, it's a very small surgery. And after you get out of that surgery, you might have to manage your lifestyle a little bit, but you should be able to live a regular life, your normal life." God gave me the honest desire of my heart. Whether I wanted it or not, right? Sometimes miracles don't happen because we don't ask. Sometimes they don't happen because it seems God has his own reasons. Sometimes miracles don't happen because we don't want them. This picture we took this week. A bunch of people back in South Carolina worried about us, and so we tried to tell them as much as we could. Yeah, we're on the outskirts of all the storms. We ain't getting touched. blue skies everywhere, and then a rainbow appeared outside our front door. And so we snapped a picture, and we sent it to my grandmother. Hi, G-Mommy. Hi. Who then immediately texted back, "What happened to all the blue skies?" What do you see, right? What is it you want to see? Sometimes miracles don't happen because we don't want them. We don't want to deal with the stranger thing because we can't control the stranger thing. Sometimes miracles don't happen, but sometimes they do. Against all odds, despite all of our faults, God steps in, acts on our behalf. The sick are healed. Sins are forgiven. Addictions lose their power. Life might be easier to comprehend without miracles. That's what my nerdy brain wants. There might even come a day when the thought of there are no miracles is actually a comforting thought. It might happen. But as much as I want the world to make sense, I know without a doubt that I want to live in a world with miracles.